I'm about to turn. I just turned the feed on. So, like I said, this is the Friday class. We are live. I'm New Najee Ill. I actually got a special guest on the phone right now, but I'll let him introduce himself in a second. Oh, matter of fact, for the record, go on and introduce yourself, buddy.
Peace. Islam. I go by Mark Bing. And yeah, man, just happy to be here with y'all, man.
Islam. And Mark Elaline, where are you from originally?
Right now, I am in Omaha, Nebraska.
Corporate state of Omaha, Nebraska. That's wonderful. How long? And you were born and raised there?
I guess you can say that. I was born and raised in the area known as the municipality of Omaha, Nebraska.
Indeed. And so, what do you do nowadays? Or like, what's your background for the people?
Okay, just kind of introduction to the people, man. I'm a young brother who was introduced to the science by New Najee a couple years ago. We met in Florida while I was in school at Tallahassee at Florida A&M University. And ever since then, man, just kind of been studying and, on this mission of uplifting humanity.
Now, just in your personal experiences, have you ever had to actually file a writ of discovery, or no?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But just
I'm more than sure the time will come, though.
Okay. Well, based on your studies, what is your thought of what it is or what its purpose is?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
As far as your idea or your knowledge as far as what a writ of discovery is, based on whatever limited or expansive knowledge you have, what do you think it is, or what is your take on it?
Well, first, before I get into that, you gotta understand what a writ is. Understand that this, is our land. We have the authority.
All right.
So, with that said, a writ is different from any other court documents that you may come across, in the fact that it holds no weight. You're not asking for permission for anything. You're really kind of just laying down the law. Being that you are law.
Islam.
But, so that's the writ part, as far as filing the document and knowing what it is and knowing what it's used for. Because there are several different writs, not just the writ of discovery, but you got, judicial proclamations, name changes, and this, that, and the third.
So writs can be used for different things.
Yeah, like I said, it's understand that a document is just a medium to disseminate certain information.
You said it's a medium?
That's all it is.
You said it's a medium?
A medium to disseminate certain information. So whatever is on that document, you being the person who is standing on that document, standing on that square, putting your pen to that pad, putting your energy into that, putting your spell into that, you have to be fully aware of what you're talking about and what you're doing.
And you said putting your spell to it. Now, what do you mean when you say that?
Pardon me?
You said you're putting your spell to it. You said pen to pad. You said something about a spell. What do you mean by spells? Because everybody might not know what you mean. I mean, I know what you mean when you say spells, but that's
Yeah. It is what you say, man. When you cast a spell, it's just like spelling the words. When you use words have certain energies. Like, people know about vibrations. When people talk about vibes, this, that, and the third, but we really don't think about the vibration of our vocal cords and our vocal flat and the energy that goes into the words.
Hold on.
The words that we write.
Say that last part again. My bad. I was trying to get the audio straight.
Okay. The vibrations from our vocal cords. When we speak words, it's the same as the vibrations that we say we feel when we're having everyday interactions with people, right? And in just certain situations.
Like when we say we got vibes.
Certain words, or when we write certain things on paper, then we are indeed casting a spell. It is a real spell. As people in the Northeast like to say, word is bond.
You said word is bond?
Word is bond.
Unpack that for me. So you say, so you're saying, well, let me just try to sum up what I'm.
As the gods of earth, as the masters of your own destiny, the words that you speak will come to fruition. The tongue is a double-edged sword, man. So definitely be wary of what you say and what you ask for, because you will reap what you sow.
So that's going back to some biblical concepts there. That's kind of going back to what some people call biblical concepts. When you're talking about reaping and sowing.
Hello, you still with me?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hold on, I think let's reset. Let's reset. See if I can get him back on the phone. Yeah, this is live now. Peace. Yeah, let me get you back on speaker. Hold on. All right, go for it. Can you hear me? Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Floor is yours, more.
Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties, but yeah, like I was saying, man, to make a long story short, just be wary of what you're saying, because you will reap what you sow, and your words hold power, and that goes tenfold for what you write down.
So you really gotta know the words that you're using.
To kind of wrap up the point though, and then go back to the original question that you asked about the doctrine of discovery. Understanding what a writ is and understanding the word of discovery. Anytime you're dealing with a corporation and they are trying to sue you for anything, or trying to enforce any kind of code of law on you, you have the authority through your writs, through your bloodline, through your nationality, to try to discover whatever kind of authority that they believe that they have.
Just to figure out what's going on, right?
Exactly. The writ of discovery is on paper information stating your status, who you are, your authority, and questioning their authority. That's what you're trying to discover in its most basic form. And with that said, I'm gonna yield the floor to you more. And let you go on with the lesson as far as the document and the true power behind it.
Islam,
that's just a basic introduction for the class.
Hey, and it was basic but deep enough. We definitely gonna go in more.
And we'll go ahead and unpack it now.
All right, thank you, Islam. We're gonna catch up with you.
Oh yeah, Islam, peace.
Islam, more peace and love. All right, now that was Brother Mark L. Now, for those who don't know, Islam, we got some people in the building. What's going on? Who we got joining us? Islam, I hear you, but I don't see you. People coming in and out. But yeah, guys, that brief intro, that was Brother Mark L. Eileen Faye checking in one time. Just another one of the active Moors, another brothers out here trying to help our people on the come up. So for housekeeping, I'm just gonna mute that out. For all you guys who are just joining us, if this is like your first class or your first time coming in, This is the Friday class. We like to do this each and every Friday. We try to, keep in line with certain expectations and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, Islam. At the end of the day, we're here to, like I said, try to open up the conversation, trying to make it so that Moors who are active and not passive have the information that they need to be able to do what they need to do at the end of the day. So without too much ado, I wanted to get some things on the record, but first let me grab a couple books right quick. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to play some tunes for you guys because I finally got the music set up. So in between, instead of, I'm going to try to, as we have commercial breaks, try to give you guys some music. So here we go.
More and more I am being guided to study more.
See my Moorish flag flying like my Moorish cake. I'm not a Jew, but Jerusalem has a Moorish gate. Dirty Moors are real, call them Moorish fakes. Pull at Negroes' emotions like some Moorish drakes. If you really want to know, go to a Moorish meeting. You better have a pen and pad, cause when active Moors speaking, it's wake up time. You won't find the Moors sleeping. Crescent moon and star in the sky, that's a Moorish beacon. The way I navigate beats, call me Moorish Seaman. My nationality, I have the power, Moorish He-Man. Moorish turban, I'm loyal, don't mistake me for bourbon. Moorish master MC surgeon, not a rapping servant. We suburban, Moors are so determined to solve the Negro problem. Moorish white man's burden. Moors beans conquer, white rice, that's a Moorish plate. Black or more fish on the hook, that's a Moorish bait. Moorish estate before chapter 48, ancestral line. All secrets taken away, Moors are not clandestine. Euromasons go to back rooms or washrooms, returning black robes and hoods with cloaks, Moorish costumes. You won't have it twisted once the Moorish got you. Desensitize the facts so the truth don't shock you. Some people call it awesome, I'm making it awful. Liar, lawyer, pushing the legal when Moors are lawful. Preachers give you ghost spell, she bring Moorish gospel. Moors are ancient, they even found a fez on a fossil. Even Bruce Lee knew he wore shirts with arms. Even MC Hammer knew pantaloons are Moorish pants.
I understand, man. I understand the nationality is the order of chaos. I understand.
I've seen and heard Moorish things in this realm. I had to fathom in shadow eyes inside hoods. Moorish master phantoms, smoke swarms, swollen circle 7 forms. You can stay close, I'm gonna stay far from the norm. Tory and Astro, travel on terror, no license, no jail cell, no cuffs, no sirens, no watching over my back, trying not to get stabbed, no fence hopping, windows popping. Want me not, Moorish monk status, bad up any youth who's baddest. With knowledge of self, Moorish Quran quotes, gun in my belt. Moorish naga, not a nigga, no shots fired. Telling officers they're servants and just hired. Easing back into his cruiser, Popo ego bruiser. Tables turn, Moorish status got him like the loser. It's a shame, many hear it, but only a few wake up from the dream state and do what Moors do. Fearing their own Moorish star, peasant, L-Bay. I'm staying Moorish, I don't care what blacks say. You can tell me, many Moors are running a racket. Or show me pics proving Drew Ali is a Moorish faggot. No matter how bad it looks, I'm not dropping this habit. Moorish Neo wake up the streets telling me follow white rabbits, jumping, stumbling blocks. They call Holy Trinity. Moorish mind, soul, and heart expressing divinity. I'm Illuminati, illuminated, great seal war. All seeing eye from high, being the being I. Stand on squares and compass as Allah prepares the mind to handle demonic and those devilish stares, casting spells so I can abandon and give him my power. For Grand Dragon commanding from a Moorish tower, yelling Alfred Pike quotes, don't be surprised to catch me drawing Moorish pentagrams, reading Madame Blavatsky.
But I'm a Moor. No. I'm a Moor.
All right. So, without further ado, I want to go on and get to this particular statement. This is a letter from the Moorish literature. It's supposed to be read at every meeting, and we don't always necessarily do it, but this time and this, this particular class, I really wanted to get this on the record before we got started. So apologies for the delay, but here we go. Divine warning by the Prophet. Noble Drew Ali, Prophet warns all Muslim governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. Right? This comes from Moorish Literature, page 13. Right? I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at the Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. I repeat, this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Islam. And so with that, I'm just making note of the fact, of course, that it has to be read. It was supposed to be read at every meeting. But the part here where the prophet says, stop flashing your cards at Europeans, right? At the time, you're talking about like 1913s, early 20s, 1920s. The Moorish divine and national movement of the world, as it's known today, was not in its full luster and glory, so to speak, in terms of being on everybody's forefront of their minds, that the Moors were back, right? So at the time period that the prophet was saying this, to show your nationality card, or to flash it, it's, just like, let me buy whatever, that wasn't a good look then. And even now, it's technically not really a good look, because we have to, act in honor, in a certain manner. But we are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course, right? Whenever there is a violation, of the law, justice is what has to take its course and then follow for a remedy to be found, right? And this is all leading up to our topic of the day, which is the writ of discovery, right? Because whenever you're having an issue with somebody, and just kind of back up and give kind of the prelim for everything, we are not Negroes, blacks, or colors, all right? We're just not. You've got a lot of people who were raised a certain way and based on, the black codes and the Jim Crow laws that were put in place right after slavery. Those things perpetuated and bureaucratized the constitutionally sanctioned version in 13th and 14th Amendment version of slavery. Prior to those amendments coming into place, you had outright slavery, right? Then about 18, late 1800s, Lincoln's emancipation, they were emancipated, meaning that the transfer of ownership went from the individual slave owners to the state, right? And in the midst of that, the value or the world trust accounts, as you'll hear Taj and other Moors talk about, were transferred from, again, the value that, you know, that my estate or whatever it is that I'm owning, right? So and if you're you know, remembering everything from previous classes we've talked about, the quote unquote Negroes, blacks, and colors that we call slaves in North America, connotatively, were Moorish POWs. All right, they were prisoners of war, because you had Islam, you had Moors who were on their homeland, who were fighting to defend that, and in the midst of those quote unquote Indian wars, they were defeated, right? Once they became a quote unquote defeated people, they were classified as what's known in law as stateless persons, right? When when you're dealing with stateless persons, you're not talking about somebody who has, at that point, when they're, you know, classified as stateless, they don't have a flag, they don't have a nation, you know what I mean? They don't have a place to truly call home, you know, a home of their own, outside of whatever their captors give them. So if I'm, you know, let's say it's the Vietnam War and I'm John Kerry, okay, and I get captured, right? I'm at that point considered to be a soldier for the, you know, the U.S. government in enemy territory, right? I'm no longer with my group. I'm not able to fight because I'm injured, so I get captured, right? I get taken as a prisoner, and in that status as a prisoner, my rights and privileges as a citizen are limited, because I'm not under my home flag. I'm not with my native people at that point, right? I'm what's known as an enemy combatant, right? Or somebody who at one point was quote unquote an enemy combatant, and now, like I said, I'm a POW, so I'm no longer in the fight like I used to be. But I still know my language. I still know, you know, where I came from. So it's not like I'm completely out of the loop, right? But I'm not ready for battle. I can't fight, you know. So when you're talking about being a POW versus or a stateless person, that's the word I was looking up right here, and I forgot. And that beeping in the background is just, you know, people coming in and out. But I don't think stateless is in here. But stateless persons, let me just look it up right quick. Stateless. So a stateless person is someone who is, quote, not considered as a national by any state under the operation of its law. Right? So some stateless persons are known as refugees, right? So refugees, just right quick, is a person, and I'm just Googling these right quick, you know what I mean? I'm not doing any debate presentation here. I'm not, you know, some expert public speaker. I'm just another, you know, weekend scholar trying to demonstrate what the little bit of portion of understanding that I know. But a refugee is a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. So typically when you were captured, you either captured as a refugee because you weren't, you know, necessarily fighting, or you were captured as a prisoner of war because you actually were fighting. But either way, you were captured, right? But in the midst of being captured and everything, if you're behind enemy line, you're supposed to be given certain rights and abilities based on the treaty to be able to you know, still move around, right? And then just for the point of argument, for the sake of argument rather, so Article 5 right here, coming out of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Treaty of Tripoli, right, 1796, 1797. Article 5, quote, a citizen or subject of either party having bought a prize vessel condemned by the other party or by any other nation, the certificate of condemnation and bill of sale should be a sufficient passport for such vessel for 1 year, this being a reasonable time for her to procure a passport, right? So they're talking about vessels and passports, right? Article 4, let's back up. Proper passports are to be given to all vessels of both parties, by which they are to be known. By which they are to be known. Just keep that phrase in mind. And considering the distance between two countries, 18 months from the date of this treaty shall be allowed, blah, blah, blah. So, going back to this part about by which they are to be known, right? To know something, I would argue, is to have notice of it, right? To have notice of something legally means that you're aware of it, or it may open the door for negligence, depending on where you are in your analysis. I'm just gonna mute you out. And just, if you guys ever watching this, people will come in and come out. If you're in and you've got your camera and your audio on, everybody can hear that. So I'll either mute you out or I'll ask you to mute yourself out, and then we'll go from there. But I just wanted to hit a couple of things here about notice. Of course, leading up to this writ of discovery that we're talking about today. So notice, information. So notice, information. So when you have information, you have notice. Just keep that in mind. The result of observation, whether by the senses or the mind. Knowledge of the existence of a fact or state of affairs. The means of knowledge. So notice either gives you the knowledge of the existence of a fact or the state of affairs. So knowledge of an existence of a fact. Any audio? So there's no audio. Let me take this out. Check, check. How about now? Can you hear me now? Oh, so I guess nobody in the chat has been able to hear me. Huh. I'm going to reset it. Hold on. I'm going to reset. So yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties. Like I said, we're going to try to keep the music going. Can y'all hear me now?
Islam, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Sis, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Sam. I don't know what's going on.
No? I don't know. I don't think it's my mic or anything. Alright, let me...
I can see you just fine. I see you playing with the camera.
Yeah. Alright. I'm going to pause this for a second.